All right, everybody, how we doing? Live at Drew's house, another edition. Hope everybody is doing well, enjoying the summer, which is flying by. The July rain is hopefully the second half of the month is better than the first. Let's hope for that. We have a return guest today. I'm very excited about this man who's been on several times. He's one of my favorite guests, the Newburyport basketball coach, Dave Clay. Dave, how are you, sir? What's going on?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good. Long time no see. How you been?
Good, Drew. Thanks. Good.
Summer's going all right?
Yeah. We have a new addition to the family, another baby girl.
I know.
Yeah. And so she's healthy. She's doing well. And now we got our two girls, and I think we're where we want to be right now.
You getting any sleep?
Not as much as I used to.
I bet that's accurate. So what's the name? Would you mind telling us the name, or you don't have to?
Oh, yeah. No. So our oldest, who's 20 months, is Bailey. And then our new baby, who just turned 2 months yesterday, is Colby.
All right. Very good. And she was born 2 months yesterday. Okay. So, wow. So that must feel like a quick 2 months, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yes and no, right? Some long days. But, yes, it is flying by.
Very, very good. So very excited. We're happy to hear that. Are you balancing summer camp still? I know you used to run the basketball camp. Still doing that?
Yep. We just finished up our last week of camp, and it's just been great. It's been great.
No mask, right? No mask these days?
No. So we had no mask, and we actually just received an email that going forward, they're going to have to wear masks. They're indoors. Okay. But outdoors will be fine.
So you'll be trying to keep them outdoors as much as possible.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm done. I did I had my 4 weeks of camp. Now I get a month of vacation. So
4 weeks in the books and done. Okay. So it's is that a summer rule for all the other camps that indoor is going to be mask mandatory, or is that talking more fall?
I believe it's going to start next week for all camps going forward.
Okay.
Just with the Delta variant,
Yeah. Basketball was one of those sports that kept trucking during the pandemic, and that was one of the really weird ones to wear masks. Because anybody who plays even pickup ball can imagine how annoying it would be to be wearing a mask as you're talking. I remember your guys had to go through that this year. Real quickly, talk about just kind of the battle as you look back on it, months removed now, the battle that was this basketball season for you.
Oh, it was one I never kind of want to go through again. It was just challenging. We all realize, I think, as coaches, how valuable the locker room time is. In those locker room moments, it's when I can pull a player aside and maybe restate in a different way what I meant on the court during practice, when it's more, we're all kind of intense and trying to have a good practice. It's also a time where they can all, who knows, maybe, if they're angry at me, get frustrated with me together, and they have that time to vent where I'm not listening. It's just them. Just a lot of team bonding that goes into that process, which I know the kids missed a lot, and the fans. I mean, we've been very fortunate to have great student section, great support within the community, and to have them not play in front of everyone was an eye-opener.
You had to make some weird decisions too, like stuff. Honestly, people don't even think about this stuff, but little things like, some teams you guys would always show up to an arena in suits and ties, and a lot of people went laid back with that because I think, quite frankly, a lot of games were getting canceled as teams jumped on the bus. That must have been getting annoying, having games canceled last minute. But I believe, if I remember correctly, you told me that you kept the guys wearing the shirts and ties. You wanted to try to keep it as normal as possible of a basketball season.
Yes. And to be honest, we originally started doing that, and then you kind of learn on the fly, especially with this year. And I just realized how we literally wouldn't be allowed into the opposing team's gym until our JV team had been removed. They had sanitized the entire gym, and then when you get in, the clock's ticking. So you got to, So we did, shirt and tie for a few games, and after that, it was all right, we're going sweatpants, have your jerseys on underneath them, so we had more warm-up time. So traveling was definitely a challenge.
Mm.
And
I can imagine. So I bet you've probably had this talk already. I mean, I know you did, just being the kind of coach you are. But what were those like parting words to the seniors? Because I know it would have been a lot harder for you to get through this year if you didn't have good leadership and kind of some mature dudes leading the way, right?
Oh, I mean, I had the best group, honestly, and you could see they had success throughout all sports, and it's just a testament to who they are as young men. I mean, I was really lucky, really lucky. I mean,
who were some of the seniors? You can name drop them too.
Oh yeah, no, Jacob Robertson, Trevor Ward, Charlie Kaling, Nick White, Andrew Cullen, Tommy John, Riley Baker was our manager, who I was so grateful was able to join us, I think, on all away games, which was a concern at first. I mean, those seniors alone were just, I mean, terrific. I couldn't ask for a better group. And it was cool. We would do some things to team build, where they'd have like little groups, and we did social emotional check-ins, because there were a lot of people hurting that didn't want to show it when they came on the court. Like, and then they're going home and doing nothing. It's like almost like they had their 2 hour of yard time in jail, and then they had to go back. So we had these social emotional groups where we had some leaders like go out to breakfast together within their little group. So it was cool that they did a lot of that on their own.
Oh, I don't think you had told me that before. That's interesting. So is that, did you guys like catch on to maybe some people that were kind of struggling, or was it just something that you kind of took a step back and said, the chances are there is somebody struggling and this might be a good thing?
Yeah, we have a guy who comes in and does team building activities with us in the beginning of the year. Then he does a middle check-in and the end of the year. And his name's Rick Gorman, and he is like phenomenal. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better guy. And middle of the year, he came in and we go, let's just everyone rate how you're feeling right now. You know, basketball side, whatever, just where are you at on a scale from 1 to 10? And it was astonishing to hear the coaches. Like, a lot of the coaches were like 4s, you know, just stressed all the time. A lot of the students, we were winning. I mean, we didn't lose a game. And a lot of our players were at like 6s or 7s when I thought they would be at 9 and 10s, you know, like that they'd be feeling great. And then you hear some, you know, just situations within their families that are happening. And some people had to quarantine because their, you know, sibling had to quarantine and missing part of the season. I mean, we had like 3 or 4 guys out multiple, like different times, you know, and just, I don't know, it was, I didn't realize the impact it had. And even within families, you know, I had some kids who usually would see both parents like equally, if they weren't together, and now they can only really stay with one. And they're like, you know, missing out on a whole connection with the other one, and they know it, and it hurts them. So it was tough.
So you were even surprised as a coach to get some of those, you thought the morale was higher. That's really interesting. But there were a lot of coaches in that position.
Yeah. No, and Rick came up with this social emotional, what do you call it? There was another word for it, but like they were accountable for each other. You know, he kind of realized that as coaches, we had a lot to do with like sanitizing, making sure everyone's, you know, not a first contact or anything like that. So he made them kind of hold each other accountable with checking in with each other, like before and, you know, outside of practice.
That's really interesting. So yeah, I bet that just gives you an idea, folks, too. Again, talking with Dave Clay, head basketball coach at Newburyport. That's kind of the stuff we were dealing with here over the last year. I don't want to dig all into the past because I know we're all trying to look forward, but I do want to ask one other thing. Any basketball coach worth their salt knows that you live to play in those tournaments. You live to have a shot at the title. You especially live for it when you have a really damn good team like you had this year. How did that work? I'm sure you had to create new goals, guys. This is what we're playing for this year. But still, in the end, it just must have been tough on your guys not to play in a tournament at the end of the year.
Yeah. No, it definitely hurt. It just, you know, the ending didn't feel right. It was like, all right, we won. This is great. Won our last game. That felt awesome. It's like probably the only time, hopefully not, but in my career, I may end on a win, you know, unless you win the state championship. So that, I think we kind of like took that into account and talked about that a little bit. But yeah, you know, they wanted to, you know, play the teams they're used to playing. You know, a lot of them have a revenge mind, you know what I mean? So where they're like, we lost to Weston, right? In that last game. And like, we wanted to come back at them. Like that was our, mindset in the off season. Like we got to do more than they are. Yeah, so it just had to change and adjust, and they were super flexible and they were great.
You're one of those. I think I've said this to you before on here. You can tell you're like a player's coach. I mean, certainly you get that great level of you're respected by your guys, and they know what lines they can cross, but they also love playing for you, which is like the best combination for a coach. And these guys. Like I hear people all the time throughout this past pandemic talking about how they're young, they're kids, they'll be fine. Who cares? They missed this. Who cares? They missed a prom, they missed a graduation. They'll live. Worse things are going to happen to them. Probably true. That's all probably true. But it's also true that those are I don't know about you, those are some of the best days of your life, is hanging out senior year. I still remember those days like they were yesterday. One of the best years of my life was senior year before we went to college. It's tough on these kids missing out on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. No, it really is. I mean, and in a way, it's almost like they kind of don't know what they're missing, but they do. Like all the the feeling of walking the halls as a senior. Like all the fans at the game when you're a senior, and they're all they all known you for 4 years, and they're cheering for. They want to see you have success. I mean, I hope they're not dwelling on it. And if anything, all of them learned a lesson in perseverance and overcoming adversity, and hopefully they carry that on. But there's nothing that can replace, or nothing we can say that will make, that situation better.
Do you think it made you a better coach at all this year?
I think it made it, yeah. Time management wise, absolutely. And I think it just reinforced some things that we do that we weren't able to do this year that meant a lot to the players. And that's like what was kind of tough to miss. Some things I think that make us like not special, but like we do differently, we weren't able to do this year, which you could see. I don't know. As a coaching staff, we could see the impact, but I don't know. Yeah, no, definitely learned a lot this year. More social, emotional stuff, and X's and O's. Some better sidelines out of bounds plays now, I guess. I don't know.
So learned a lot, but never want to go through it again. That's kind of the general theme of this. And hopefully these variants are all down and we can get back to playing ball. Picture that. What's that opening night, Newburyport, in the gym, packed house? What's that going to be like just to get back out there and feel normal again, a normal atmosphere? You probably get chills just thinking about it.
Yeah, I could not wait. I mean, our team's been playing in a lot of summer leagues, and it's just awesome. I remember one of our first games we played, the first game I was able to get to with the new baby, I walked in and no one's wearing a mask. And I'm like, this is phenomenal. It's just like to see people's faces. I mean, I didn't see a lot of my guys without a mask for a whole year. A lot of them changed. Like it was cool to see them smile. That was fun.
Yep. I know there's only so much contact you can have during the summer. I think in general the rule is you can watch but can't coach, right?
Yep.
What are we looking at like for next year? How's you already got your eyes on some players or what?
Oh yeah, no, I am looking. I cannot wait for next year. Max Gainon's going to be, a 4-year varsity player. He's going to be a 3-year starter. Ronan Brown, Ronan Brown was an all-league player this year, and he looks like a bodybuilder right now. He's huge, but he's like using it well in his game. Just a lot. Finn Sullivan's looking great. Just a lot of guys looking great, and there's a lot of good young guys that are coming up that clearly improved a lot over the offseason during COVID.
This is a fairly obvious question, but it always kind of strikes me. Like I think back to my days in high school, and like I'll tell you why I think about it, because I had this Spanish teacher once, right? Who like I felt pretty close to. I'm pretty safe in saying I was one of his favorite students. Like maybe not the best student, but like he liked me. I could tell he liked me. And like I was like, yeah, you know what? I bet I'd be like friends with that guy if I was older. So like he'd never forget me, right? I remember bumping into him like 8 years later at Finn's restaurant in Salem, and looked at me and he was like, "I know you, but I don't know you." And I remember thinking like, "Huh, that's fascinating." And then it was going around my head. I was like, these teachers, they bring in a whole new crop every year. And it's like, it must be kind of strange to let go and start again and let go and start again. Never mind a coach when you're running a basketball program. But what is that feeling like? I know that's not really a great question, except for the fact, how can you explain that?
Oh, I mean, you can ask my seniors this year. I cry every banquet. You know, it feels like what kept you guys together for so long, right? Whether we had disagreements or we did agree, was that we all had to come together for basketball. And now that's gone, and a lot of them still keep in touch, which I'm so grateful for. And then you try to do your best to keep in touch with others. It's always great hearing from them, but they say things to me that I don't remember saying at all. Like, oh, when you said that gave me a lot of confidence. Or when you said that really hurt. I'm like, I don't remember that at all. I'm so sorry. But it really hurts losing. You get so close to them. I mean, we just had grades 1 through 4. Like, I'm hopefully going to see grade 1 graduate at some point, right? And I'm going to remember when they first came in and started playing basketball for the first time. And then just, stepping back and watch, just seeing the progress they've made as a person too. I mean, it gives me chills right now thinking about, like, just all of them. They're great.
And as you go, as the teams overlap, in place, I mean, and you must get lost. I mean, I know you've only, how many years in Newburyport now for you?
It's going to be my 5th.
Yeah, right. So you're climbing quickly. I mean, I imagine once you get to like 10 years at a place, you must forget who played with who sometimes. Like, oh, wait, he wasn't a part of that team? That was the year before? Okay. Am I right? Do you think that happens? I don't know.
Like, I still remember my first team from Trenton when I was the head coach there. Not my JV teams as much. I remember the players, not who played with who. But I do have, like, pictures of all of them in my basement. Okay. So I see them every day, like. Okay. And I look at them like, I think about, I mean, my first team who I had, a few guys, like, see them on Facebook. And it's easier to connect now, right, with social media. So I'm able to keep tabs on them and see what they're doing and see how they're progressing through life. And it's fun. That's like the funnest part. But the basketball is, that's just like the game, like the relationships you build with some of these players, and hopefully all of them is by far hands down the best.
That must be fun to see. You look at, whoa, that boy became a man. Look at that.
Yeah. I actually was walking Bailey a couple days ago, and I ran into Parker and Casey McLaren. Actually, their mom and dad as well. And Casey has put on so much size. Like, he looks just jacked. Shoulders are broad. It was just cool to see, like, and I talk to him pretty frequently. It's just, you see him differently now. It's like, wow, man, you are growing into yourself.
Is he the best player you ever coached?
I'd say that's tough to say. That's a tough one. He is, I'd say that would just be unfair of me to say who the best is, because they all bring so much to their teams respectively. Like, what Jacob brought this year was exactly what we needed, and what Parker brought the year before that was, like, I mean, without him, we don't have that year. And without Kate, they all contribute so much, like, even to the growth of it in Newburyport. Like, people know who Casey McLaren is. You ask any youth basketball player, they know who Parker and Jacob are. Like, they'll never forget, those are their NBA players in their eyes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't do that question. I'm sorry.
Very well handled there as a coach. Nicely done. Dave Clay, I hear you get some commotion in the background, so let's do another minute or so. I think somebody's waking up from a nap. Does she want to make it? Does she want to make an appearance on the show?
No, they're still sleeping. It's one of my dogs right now who, that's does it. Yeah, oh yeah, she's crying like a little baby. She's my little baby too.
I should know. That's very cute. I should know the dog sounds. I got 2 of them myself here who have done. They've interrupted their fair share of shows as well. Summertime. What does Dave Clay do to relax and get away from basketball during the summer? Kind of a tough question when you have two little ones, but
yeah. No, I'm just gonna let her up real quick. What do? I work on my yard a lot. I go to the park. We park jump all the time. That's all we do is go from Cashman Park to another one. Tons of walks. I don't have much time to relax right now, but spending time with them is relaxing when we're going for a walk, and I can just kind of zone out. I love going to the beach and reading. That's like my fun.
There you go.
That's what I love to do. But
What's the hardest part about juggling the camps and the basketball and the kids? Is it just not enough time in the day or what?
not nearly enough. My wife's been my hero because, when I'm gone, she's taking care of them both. And even when it's both of us, it's hard at times. So she's been amazing. She actually, her and the girls went down to Rhode Island yesterday to go see their grandparents. So I get to work on the house and do some things around here today to clean up before she gets back. So.
There you go. How old do they have to be before you start working on the jump shot?
Oh, already working on it. We got like a hoop, honestly. Oh man, 3 hoops in her playroom right now and 1 in her bathroom. She knows the word basketball. I got her a little jerk. Oh yeah, she knows basketball makes me happy. You can just see it. Like we came down from our last game after North Reading, and I came downstairs with her, and there was a basketball in sight. She's like, basketball. She just held it and it was like, all right, this is good.
That's beautiful. What was the toughest conversation too? Kyle Hodgson told me that something that, I hadn't really thought of, but I imagine coaches got a lot of this too. Just parents who weren't able to go see their kids play in those, like you mentioned, empty stadiums. He said, sometimes I was telling them rules of why they couldn't be there. And I wasn't even sure if what I was saying made sense. I'm sure you had some parents coming at you too. I think parents get it, but those must have been tough conversations, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of at a height of the of the pandemic, where it was, we were getting like 6,000 cases a day, so they understood and they were very receptive to that. And the tough thing was that we may have been able to host some people, but if it couldn't happen in every sport, it wasn't really equitable. So eventually, though, it was cool. I think the senior parents got to watch their kids play maybe the last 3 games at home, and then we were able to have every kid's parent for the last game, it was just awesome. Funny thing, before our senior night, the senior parents, I let them into the gym to set up, and Mary Robertson pulled me aside, and she's like, Dave, I just want you to know, can we just hang out for a little bit? We haven't seen each other in a year. It was just it just kind of clicked, wow, that's so true. These poor parents haven't been able to they usually at summer league games together and then talking at basketball games. So it was cool to see them be able to connect as well.
Basketball bringing people together again, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know you're looking forward to a more normal next year. Newburyport, I thought, came together pretty good. It seemed like people were doing their part and following the rules and now getting vaccinated. And you must be pretty proud of this place as a community. I know you always talk about how supported you feel your team is, and kind of everybody needed each other through this. So. Yeah,
no, I love this community. It really is unbelievable, and the people make it what it is. And very, very grateful to live here, and couldn't imagine going anywhere else.
Well, that's a nice way to end the show, I think, right there. Dave Clay, Newburyport basketball. Thanks for taking some time with, I know your precious time with 2 young girls, 2 baby girls running around. Congratulations on number 2. I hope you can still get some sleep, and we'll see you on the basketball court soon, right?
All right. Sounds great.
Have a great summer, man.
All right. You too, Drew.
There you have it, Dave Clay, one of my all-time favorite guests. I really love having him on. He's just an all-around great guy. Find me a man or a woman who has something negative to say about Dave Clay, and that person doesn't exist. That's the story. Great guy, great coach. Newburyport basketball is lucky to have him, and I always enjoy having him on the show. I'm lucky to have him here myself. Have a great summer to Dave. Have a great weekend to all of you. That'll do it for the week, all right? Live at Drew's house, another edition. Peace.